Well, good evening. Thank you for coming tonight. We'll be leading you in the show tune sing-along. I'm kidding. My name is Chris Velarde, and I am one of the anchors of Good Morning Connecticut on WTNH News 8.
I'm Chris's co-anchor. I'm Ann Craig. I get the honor of sitting next to Chris every single morning. We come on air. Oh, thank you. We come on air at 5 o'clock every single morning, and we like to think we're the warm-up crew for Robin Roberts and Josh Elliott, who's here somewhere. Hi, Josh, in the crowd. So what a thrill for us tonight to literally get to warm up the stage for Robin. And, of course, ESPN's Bob Ley as well.
And, of course, we thank you so much for being here tonight because this is such an important cause. This is a wonderful event, and we're going to have time for you to be part of it as well. We have these wireless microphones because we know you're going to have questions for Robin and Bob. They will be out here in just a few minutes, and so we'll kind of roam the crowd when we get to that Q&A portion and find us, we'll find you, and we'll get some of your questions for them to answer coming up in a little while.
It is a real treat for us to be here tonight, and it's a real commitment to each and every one of you for being here as well. FSW, of course, is an organization that has been around, did you know this, since 1849? And when you think about, pretty remarkable. When you think about 1849, just to put that a little bit in perspective, that was 10 years before Abraham Lincoln was president, 30 years even before the telephone was invented, and of course a lot this week in the news we've been talking about the Titanic, so 60 years even before the Titanic. So FSW has a long, long history of helping people in need. Helen Keller has one of my favorite quotes. I think she's so full of inspiration, and she said once, "I would rather walk with a friend in the dark than be alone in the light." And FSW has really been that friend for 160 years, walking with people in dark situations and leading them to the light with a brighter future. So you guys are also showing a commitment and a support of FSW tonight, just being here and honoring the organization. So we're glad that each and one of you are here.
Someone did her homework this afternoon, huh?
Okay, but look, he's Mr. Techie, I'm old school notebook, all those reporter years coming into play.
There's also going to be an auction tonight, and I want to make sure I get the auction items right. Bob is going to get the auction underway somewhere in between, the talking part of this. And here's what's going to be available tonight. A tour of ESPN given by Bob Ley himself. And you know Bob Ley has been at ESPN since 1849, too. So he knows the ins and outs. He knows where he's going with that. And there's also some fantastic seats for the Subway Series, some tickets to one of the games at Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
So, pretty cool stuff.
Just make sure whoever you take, you're both rooting for the same team. Because that could be interesting, right?
It could be fun. It could be
I know
fun.
you're for the Mets and I'm for the Yankees.
If you take me, I'm a Mets fan. Keep that in mind. All right, so let's bring Bob out in just a minute. First, though, we want to hear from one of the guys behind this operation.
We want to introduce the president and CEO of FSW. It is Dr. Bill Haas. Come on in.
Thank you, Ann and Chris, and good evening, everybody. So great to see this theater filled tonight. You know, Ann stole my first opening line to tell you that FSW has been around in this community for a very long time. In fact, 163 years we've been helping people in this community. Our mission is to empower people to build brighter futures. And what that means is we provide people with skills, with guidance, and motivation to change their lives. And that's what we're all about. The people who come to us have multiple challenges, social challenges, emotional, economic challenges. And our job is to help them face those challenges head on. We do that by connecting them with many of the services that we have at our organization. So for example, we might help a person cope with anxiety or depression. We might provide work skills training to help a person get back on the job and earn a more high-paying job. We work with kids in crisis, kids who are at risk, who we want to help become productive members of the community. We do many, many things, but we cannot do what we do without your support and the support of our entire community. This is our largest fundraiser of the year. We are very proud to have 25 sponsors who have stood up to support us this evening. Thank you. They are listed in your program. They are on the banners out in the lobby, and they are on the slide behind me. I'm going to ask you to take just a few minutes, look at this list of names, and please do everything you can to help support and patronize these businesses. I know that they will appreciate it because we really appreciate their support. In addition to these wonderful sponsors, we also had a number of companies and individuals make donations to our silent auction, including the wine and the food that you take part of tonight in our meet and greet session earlier this evening. I would like to thank Chris and Ann for their time tonight and being our MCs, and most especially, I want to recognize our celebrities tonight, Bob Ley and Robin Roberts, who without this support and their generosity, this event would not be possible. And of course, those of you who have been to events like this know that they don't just happen by themselves. We are very fortunate to have a very hard-working committee led by our chairman, Butch Trishman. Please. Our co-chair, Peggy Belden. And our energetic and creative committee consisting of volunteers, board members, and our staff. Please give them another round of applause. We are very fortunate and privileged to have our title sponsor tonight, PSEG Power Connecticut. And I'm happy to introduce to you tonight the president of that organization to speak a few words about how his company is helping this community. Rich LaPiore.
Thank you, Bill. PSEG Power Connecticut is extremely happy to be here tonight. We have a lot in common with FSW, and that is making Connecticut a better place to live. For over 100 years, our company has strengthened the areas in which we do business and our people work by investing into those communities. We believe it's what we should do in giving back to those communities where we do business. We have supported the YMCA in Bridgeport. We've supported the Connecticut Burn Center. Our employees, some of which are here tonight, have raised almost $600,000 over a period of time in order to support that effort. So we're very pleased, and we're used to being able to support the communities. We've also invested into Connecticut, into the environment. Not too long ago, we installed some emission controls at our Bridgeport Harbor generating station, and that plant now is one of the cleanest plants running in the country. So we're very pleased to be able to have been able to do that and continue to do business in the state of Connecticut. As we move forward, we are presently installing new generators in New Haven, clean glass generators that will help serve grid reliability and put many people to work. Over 200 workers have been working on that for the past year and a half, so we're pleased to be able to do business there. We're very pleased to be able to share this evening tonight with FSW and bringing Robin Roberts and Bob Ley to this evening, and I think this will be a memorable evening for everybody, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich, and thank you again to PSEG Power Connecticut. You know, there's no better way to understand what we do at FSW than to hear directly from our clients. And so I'm going to turn the mic back to Ann, and she is going to introduce you to two of our clients who have some wonderful stories to share with you. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Bill. Yes, I want to introduce you to those clients now. I believe Dion is going to come up first. So great to see you tonight. And Morale as well. Dion, thank you. You look lovely. Tell me a little bit about what initially brought you to FSW.
I would have to say, excuse me, a lot of things, really. I'm kind of, I consider myself a self-sufficient person, but you get to a point where you have to ask for help. And I had to look to the community for that, because I don't usually have a lot of family support. So when I found out about FSW and that there was more than one thing that they did, I kind of felt a little bit better.
In what way have they been able to help you?
Well, like the gentleman said earlier, the first thing I wanted to do was to get some mental support, because I ended up in the hospital, and it was a really tragic thing. I just didn't realize that I was that ill. Single mother of 3, so
Not easy.
I gave myself a timeout, I guess you could say. And I really, really did need the support. I just needed to figure out what was going on and why.
Well, look at you now. You look fantastic, and I'm so glad they were there for you and to be able to get you back on your feet. Thanks for sharing your story. And here's another one of those stories just to see the impact FSW has on lives. This is Morel. Good to see you tonight. Tell me a little bit about your story. What first brought you to the organization?
Well, I was referred to a community service organization, and that's how I got referred to FSW.
And how have they been able to help you and inspire you in your life?
Well, they were able to meet my need. I needed formal education with dealing with my finances, and they provided the training for me, and also not only training, but they also provided mentorship. And what I really loved about the program in itself is that by being there, I also, like I said, I had a mentor, but she was very committed, and she followed up with me, and that, I really respect that about her, and I really thank her for being there, and she represented, the agency, and because of her, I'm able to continue to give thanks.
It's a great story. Thank you so much. Glad to see you so inspired. It's a rare opportunity to get to see the names and the faces of the people that you help, and just know that every single dollar, just by you being here tonight, or any check that you can write on your way out the door, really goes to help so many people whose names and faces you will never see, but know that it's getting to the right people through FSW. Chris?
And that is what it's all about. All right, now for the main event of the evening. And it is my honor to bring out a man who has been at ESPN not since 1849. It was 1853 or so. But he's been at ESPN since ESPN was a building. If you've been up there now, it has its own form of government. It's huge. And you could get a tour of ESPN a little bit later, if you bid, a little bit later. It is my pleasure to bring out the man who has been the face of SportsCenter, the face of World Cup soccer coverage, and the face of the wonderful Outside the Lines broadcast, and a board member for FSW, Bob Ley.
I'm also the prop master tonight. Thank you all for being here, and because you've made a commitment by being here tonight. To quote guitar player I saw play at the Garden the other evening, we take care of our own, and people in Connecticut do. And your being here tonight shows that commitment. Thank you. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was, remember we used to have to warm up the TV, but warming up the TV for the Oscars this year, nice and early, there was the red carpet show, and I gotta tell you, watching my friend Robin Roberts bring it. You watch that show? That was fun. We'll have a chance to talk to her about that this evening. She's interviewed presidents, she's interviewed movie stars. I think of my old partner on the Sunday morning Sports Center in tiny little Studio C, set up way off in one little portion of the campus, and a friend I've been able to work with on other occasions, including just last year at the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, which was a real thrill. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. We want to hear from your questions. Please, a warm welcome this evening from all friends of FSW for Robin Roberts. Now we'll have some fun.
Thank you very much.
All right. So now I turned on my TV this morning.
Oh, no.
And you're talking to Tim Tebow. And the story that's motivated us all week on Outside the Lines of Sports Center is...
He's not dating Taylor Swift.
All right.
Is that weird?
No, but I've got Bobby Petrino. The head coach of the University of Arkansas, cheating on his wife with his mistress on his motorcycle, lying to his boss, is paying off his mistress. How do you get that good story, and I'm stuck with the other stuff?
I'm just living right, But it was something to spend a little time with Tim Tebow, and I just want to start by, I have known this man for 22 years. 22 years.
1990.
Yep. Came to ESPN in 1990 and have known you for these 22 years. And I never wanted to leave SportsCenter, ESPN. I hit the mother lode. I was living happily ever after. And making the transition to Good Morning America and ABC News was stepping outside of my comfort zone. And I think of those moments, and still talking to Tebow today, it's something that I'm very... It's a part of my DNA, but I want to encourage people to always kind of push yourself, and I'm so glad that I did that, and I didn't go T-bowing with him or anything like that, but he is the real deal, unlike the person you had on outside the line.
That's true.
Did he really think he was going to get away with that? He's got his girlfriend and mistress on the back of the motorcycle.
Yes, he did.
He gets in a wreck. And he just thinks no one's going to...
Lies to his boss, tries to call the police in. When you see the spin, what goes through your mind? I know when you get somebody on the air and Outside the Lines, and you've got your list of questions and you've done your homework and you try, live television, people know people have learned as guests how to use it, right? How to filibuster, turn it to their advantage. And someone's trying to do it, I say, you son of a gun, you know I've only got 40 seconds left, I got my killer question. It can be so frustrating, can't it, sometimes?
It can be extremely frustrating, and you know that people, you're watching us, and you want us to ask those questions, and I always try and imagine, what do you want to know? What do you want to know from Tim Tebow? What do you want to know from the President of the United States? What do you want to know from anybody that I'm blessed to sit across from and talk with? And try and get those questions in, but they can be very, very shrewd. Is Josh still here? Where's Josh? We couldn't get you better seats than that, Josh?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was up here last year.
Yeah, he's the man. But he knows, you know a little something about live TV. Your live play of the day today. We had a dog, Geronimo, and we were running out of time, but much like, so what do we have, Josh? We had I
think we had 35 seconds.
Right, 35 seconds. And what was Geronimo supposed to do?
He was supposed to double Dutch jump rope, which when you're, yes, look, the live is, but I'll say this, Bob, when I got to ESPN, I found out that I could write long because you wrote long. So I got to write leads that were 35 or 40 seconds. Robin, when's the last time we've ever done anything with 35? I mean, at our place now, Bob, if it's 10 or 12 seconds, they'll choose the 10.
Rap.
Yeah, bang, rap. Yeah, it's trying to get a dog to double Dutch jump rope in 30 seconds, turns out, is not good live television.
No.
But we made it look good.
But we sold it.
We sold it.
I wanted to ask you about one evening in your life. We all have our vanity walls. We've had our pictures taken with interview subjects, fortunate to have interviewed presidents. We both had that experience, been to the White House and this and that. But when I saw the picture, and I think you showed it to me, at the state dinner at the White House with Queen Elizabeth, you, the president, and Mrs. Bush, right? And
yes,
Queen Elizabeth.
right.
What the heck was that night like? That had to be like Cinderella.
Okay, can I reenact it for you?
Yeah.
A little bit, because this is great. I don't think you know the backstory.
Okay.
So it's great. It's the Queen of England, literally the Queen of England, and her husband. And I love that, and her husband.
He's a consort.
I know, right? He's used to it. So I was very pleased that Mrs. Bush invited me. I was technically her guest to the White House. And my grandmother had been at the coronation of the Queen. way back. My uncle happened to be serving overseas, and my grandmother hated to fly. She came over on the Queen Mary or whatever and saw it, and I remember seeing little trinkets in her home in Akron, Ohio from the coronation. I remember like, what's that about? So Mrs. Bush, I had shared that story with Mrs. Bush before that morning, because we did an interview with her, and then the dinner was that night. So when you have that dinner, and it was the president, George Bush, then it was the Queen of England, then it's Mrs. Bush, and then the Queen's husband at the end. So somebody announces us, and they go like, they'll go, Robin Roberts from so and so, and then you walk out, and you're just supposed to take your picture, and then just quickly go down the line and be done with it. So, true story. So everyone's there, Colin Powell, everyone's going through, and then they go, Robin Roberts for Good Morning America. And I promise you, this is what President Bush did. Hey, hoo, hey, yo, hey. I'm like, oh, God. So we take our picture, we're like this. Everyone thinks it's like a caricature because he's having a good time. But the really cool thing is, after that, I then go and I wanted. My mother asked me. She said, "You know how mothers are. When you meet the Queen, tell her about your grandma. Tell her that
She'd remember it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, she remembers you from all the masses, from the balcony. She'd remember. Oh, remember that woman from Akron, Ohio. So, but tell. I'm like, Mom, I'm never going to get the chance to do that. So after the little thing with President Bush, I shake the Queen's hand. Oh no, I wait for her to extend, and then I shake her hand.
Did you curtsy?
No, I didn't, because I'm not a subject. So I didn't curtsy. I did my homework. Anne wasn't the only one who did her homework this morning. So then I move on to Mrs. Bush. And Mrs. Bush stops me and says, Queen, this is the young woman I was telling you about. Her grandmother was there at the coronation, and allowed me to tell the story. That's how Mrs. Bush, I mean, so that, when you see that picture, there's so much more going on than just that. You didn't know that, did you?
I don't have a story that can hold a candle to that tonight. I think of the walks we used to make up to Studio C, though.
Oh, goodness.
There you are, hobnobbing with the Queen, who's listening to your story politely. And just a few years earlier, we have this little studio that's set way out literally by the dumpsters.
Right.
It's still operating. We're soon to be replaced, and that's where they had exiled us one year for Sports Center. Slipping and sliding. Remember, in the winter, they would never chip the ice. We'd have to slip and slide in our dress shoes over the ice, bit by bit, with our scripts in one hand and our shot sheets in the other to get it in there. With robotic cameras, which sometimes would have a mind of their own, right?
You'd see like half of us, and we'd be moving to try to
Or it would move towards you and it wouldn't stop. But those were the fun, because when you came with us in 1990, the network had been on the air, 11 years, right?
And it was just ESPN. That's it.
One network.
That's it. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to remember that. And then it was ESPN2, and it went on from there. But yes, and it was great. And Bob is one of the originals. He is one of the original hires at ESPN.
I can't find real work.
This is the beauty of Bob. We also did a show with a gentleman, Charlie Steiner, who beard and just...
Professional. I don't want to call him professional. I'll call him a professional curmudgeon.
And so you have Charlie Steiner and all that entails, Bob Ley, and Robin Roberts. We called ourselves the Mod Squad. 6 p.m. Sports Center, Mod Squad.
A lot of fun. And then you had a chance to begin working with ABC, which I knew had to be a great opportunity for you, because our two companies had been a little bit wary at a distance for a while. And then, of course, Disney brought us all together, and those opportunities began to happen for you.
It did, because at that time, you were either at ESPN or ABC or another network. No one ever went beyond that one network. And I remember there was an opening at Wide World of Sports on ABC. And when I was a kid, Jim McKay, there was nothing better than the thrill of victory.
Best.
The best. And there was an opening, and I remember our executive at the time, Howard Katz, remember taking him out to dinner. And I asked him, could I do that? I'd still stay devoted to ESPN, but this is a great opportunity, and could I do that on the weekends part of the year? And he thought about it, and then he agreed to allow me to do it. And I thought what was great about it is I went to talk to him. My agents wanted to call and all that. I'm like, you know, that's the beauty of ESPN. Is like, you just know I don't need an agent to talk for me. I can go in and talk to Howard myself, and if we can do it, we can do it. And it just opened this crazy door for me, because now that I was there at ABC on the weekends, there was a show called GMA Sunday, not the one you see now, but it was a show that was just on Sundays, Willow Bay. And I was in the house, and they said, since you're around, can you just file a report for us for GMA Sunday? Well, then GMA weekdays, they see me on GMA Sunday, so then they want me to do a sports story. A sports story turns into doing a human interest story, and then it turns, and it just snowballed from there. And everybody thinks I had like this master plan, like, okay, I'm going to get to ESPN in 1990, and then I'm going to do this. And it's just allowing yourself to be open for opportunities and to prepare yourself for those opportunities when they present themselves.
I wonder how many people here read the book that was published last year about ESPN. These guys have all the fun. Some people may have read that book. It gets into the culture of our network, and you talk about the ability to go in to put your feet up on somebody's desk and just have that conversation with them. And there's a plaque just inside our building 4, the building I actually have my office in, and it has a list of all the employees that began with us in 1979 and are still with us. It is surprising, and this was put up 5 years ago. It is amazing that a company that size would retain, and by the way, I have a new side career. It's emceeing retirement dinners. I've done 3 this year, and I've got 2 more coming up in the near-term future, but people are getting to the point. But the point of the matter is that the culture is such that you have so many long-time employees that the people at the top of the company started literally in the mailroom, as drivers, as producers, as the people who were bringing your own water out with you that night, and it has fostered that culture. If you've not had a chance to read that book, I would ask you to do that if you want to learn more about what the magic of that network is that began in Bristol in an unfinished building when it went on the air in 1970. What was your impression when you walked in? Because it was just one building, right? It was still one studio.
One studio.
We were just like chug, trying to get it all done.
One building, and what was the difference is when I was working in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and when you do local sports, you're just, they don't even want you there because they don't really want to give you the time out of their newscast to allow you to do sports. And so when you walk into a building that's just 24/7, nothing but sports, and something that I had watched, I was in high school in '79, went to college, wanted to be at ESPN, and people were like, first of all, you're a woman, you're never going to do sports, and second of all, ESPN's not going to be around by the time you're able to avoid it. We both proved them wrong.
A lot of people thought that in the early 80s.
Well, those Australian rules football in the early years.
Which I hosted, by the way.
that was a little scary. But I remember those first days, and we would do what we call double dips. We'd do the 7 and the 11. We'd do 2 sports centers. We would do whatever it takes to keep that network going. And I remember one Saturday morning, I'm there, and I had only been there maybe a couple of months, and the receptionist calls my desk, and I saw a school bus pull in. I didn't think anything of it. I'm working on my scripts. I see a school bus pull in. And then a short time later, a receptionist calls up to my desk, and she goes, you're Robin Roberts? And I said, yes. Could you please come down here? And I'm like, oh, gosh, what'd I do already? So I go downstairs, and there's a lobby full of kids, and there seems to be like some chaperones. And some guy comes up, and he said, yeah, your mom said if we were around that we could come by for a tour. And I'm like, I was like, you're killing me, Mom. You're really silly. I'm like, yeah, sure, come on. It's a little
they
more
didn't have to bid on that tour, did they? No, they got it for free.
And
that's not happening
but
tonight.
I only saw that one building and that one studio, but they really loved it.
We want to get to questions in just a second, certainly, but there's one question I know that is on the minds of a lot of people. You're a cancer survivor.
Yes.
And God bless you for that. And many. As a public figure, you had a choice how to deal with it, whether to report it, how to report it. Take me through your mind as you get the diagnosis and you digest the news and you do what you do for a living and you decide to let people experience your
That's a good
innermost struggle?
No, that's a good question, Bob. It was 2007, and when I was, and many of us in this room, and I've met many of you who are fellow, I know the word is survivor, but it's much like this FSW. We're not survivors, we're thrivers. And that's, you know, and that's how I really approached it. But to answer your question, I wasn't going to tell anybody at first. You know, you get that diagnosis, you're frightened, you don't know what the outcome is going to be, and I didn't plan on telling anyone. And then I was talking with my mother, and you can tell she's 88, I talked about my mom a lot, and she said, honey, make your mess your message. You could be of service to others. You could be an example for others. And that's what in essence, that's how the Roberts family rolls, is what she said. That's how, that's what we always be of service. It's not what you accomplish in life, she tells me, it's what you overcome that you're going to remember the most at the end of the day. And so I decided to go public. And I was cured that moment. I feel that way. Right. Because the prayers that were said for me, when I let people know of all faiths, and I really felt this healing taking place. And that's something when you think that you're doing something for others, you are rewarded tenfold. Wasn't my motivation or anything like that. And I'm just so grateful, and I met some wonderful health technicians and an oncologist nurse, and my nurse's name was Beth. And it was a journey, and I'm so thankful that I shared it, and I'm so thankful that people come up to me every day at Good Morning America, and they'll say they were diagnosed at the same time, or they knew of someone, and to know that it was helpful in some kind of way makes it, I realize that it is a privilege to be a messenger, and I felt that that's what my purpose was with that.
Why don't we see, I know we have questions, and we promised the ability to do some Q&A, and I can't quite see where all the hands are, or where the microphones, and where, do we have any questions set to go?
Sure, we have one right here.
All righty.
Just tell us your name first.
My name is Patty. Patty. Hi, Robin. First
Hi.
of all, I admire your courage, your strength, your hope, and your message. I was just diagnosed a second time, February. I had a double mastectomy March 19th, and I had a PET scan where they found 3 more spots. Monday, I'm going to have my stomach biopsied, and they're going to put my port in and start me on chemo next week. My question to you, I mean, I've been praying, and I have people praying for me. I have a wonderful support group. I have wonderful nurse navigators and doctors and surgeons. How did you get through it the way you did in the public eye and just keep those emotions under control? I'm having a hard time with the emotions. It's been an emotional roller coaster for me.
And it was for me, Maddie. It was an emotional roller coaster for me as well. Going through it publicly was very difficult because there were days that, and I would share those emotions. Go with the roller coaster. You don't have to be strong every day. If you are, or if you're having, just don't wallow there. But if you are having one of those days, when you try and hold it back in, it makes it so much worse. You have been through this journey already. You know what it takes. And like you said, you have surrounded yourself with people who are going to be there for you. It's very hard for us as women especially. We want to be the caretaker. Allow people, give them the honor to love you, to just be there for you. And just know that you have walked this journey before, and this too shall pass. And if you don't come up here and give me a hug, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm proud of you. knocking out of you. They are. Bless you.
If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone in your neighborhood and be able to.
I want to stay up. I'm going to walk now.
All
She got
right.
me all
I'm
fired
gonna
up.
work the room.
What you want? What you want,
She's
Josh?
on the move.
Can't handle this. You know this. Oh, no, don't give Josh the mic. No, not yet. Let me warm up a little bit before you get it. Yeah.
He knows too much.
He knows too much.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Palazzari. And first, I'd like to say that we're all very calm, cool, and collected in our chairs, but inside we are freaking out.
Thank you.
You're just both amazing individuals. But my question is, and by the way, God bless. My question is, and it's, Bob, I love you so much. It's for Robin. We all have moments in our lives where we have to do something and we're not sure if we can do it. And it happens in different stages in your life. But I wanted to know about an interview that maybe you just didn't know, other than interviewing yourself and going through what you went through, you didn't know that if you would be able to hold it together, because you are the most fair interviewer and so compassionate. And you always just make it so enlightening, and you get the questions answered, and you never pry. And nobody knows how you do it. But how do you do it?
You know what? There's only one time I did, and I thought I was going to be fired. It was when I went down after Hurricane Katrina, and it's my hometown. And the sun was coming up, and I wasn't able to find my family, and I found them right before I went on the air. And I was so grateful. And then I got back, and I thought just what you said. I was cool, calm, and collected. And the camera comes on, and I'm like, yes, I was working with Charlie and Diane at the time. Yes, I arrived at such and such time, and da 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 da. And I finished the broadcast. I finished the segment, and then Charlie Gibson in my ear. We have a little IFB. He goes, "How's your mama?" And I let my emotions come through. When because that was very personal. That was just too personal for me, and I really thought that I was going to get fired because you're not supposed to show emotion like that. With interviewers, it's I'm curious by nature, and I always try. And I'm a conduit. I'm a messenger, and I want to be there for you, and I can't let my feelings color that at all. And it's gotten easier as I've gotten older. When I was younger, it was a little more challenging. It was a little more obvious if I liked the person or not. But I've gotten much better with it because I really want people, and I trust people to make the decisions for themselves.
You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you very much.
I had a chance to conduct an interview just the other day. In fact, it'll be on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
That's a plug for himself, just so you know.
Shameless promotion.
Shameless.
But the story is amazing. It's a woman who was a cross-country runner at Southern Methodist, a native of Norway, walking down the street in Dallas 2 years ago. Was pulled into a van and sexually assaulted by three men. Gets away. Now this horrible details of this entire crime becomes, in the hours afterwards, resolved to see justice done, and testifies at 3 separate trials. Wow. Keeps a journey of her entire experience, writes down every horrible detail, works closely with the detectives and the prosecutors and the police, and now wants to write a book about it. Had an opportunity to interview her for about 10 minutes the other day, and you'll see it again, shameless plug Sunday morning, but the composure of this woman, when you realize that somebody has visited hell and kept notes and went public and became an advocate. And we also had on the program, and you'll see this, a woman who works with prosecutors, getting them ready to work with victims, who was just speechless that this 21-year-old woman, not even, thousands of miles from home, it shows you where she's from as far as her maturity, resolved that this won't stand. And not only will I testify, and she could have testified under a pseudonym under Texas law, has gone public. Her story is amazing. And when you meet people like that, it's the privilege of our job to see these moments and meet these people. We're blessed to have the jobs we have. We really are. Yeah.
Incredible story, Bob.
Our next
All right.
Again, Sunday at 9 o'clock. Sunday, 9 o'clock on ESPN.
Well,
Just give us your name first.
Hi, my name is Bobby Brown. That's Bobby with an I. The question that I have for both of you, especially you, Robin. I'm a student, and I work in broadcasting at a radio station. I interned since I was 14, so I really love the field of communications. And what would you say to a college student that's pursuing not just radio but even TV as well? Because it's a lot of work, and
Right.
being in the classroom and working with different students, and I can see how and excited you are when you get up and when you speak, and it all shows. And as students like myself who want a career in communications and broadcasting, whether it be TV or radio, how do we get there? What can you say to really push us there? Because, students now, like our professor is saying, well, soon newspaper will be gone and radio will be gone and you'll just have TV and then internet. And I'm like, no, we got to save it because our generation wants to be there.
Well, good, that's
so
right.
I want to be there.
But you find there are different ways. I mean, communications, it's always changing, and the form of how we communicate changes. And so you need to stay up on the different things and being creative. And how you do that. If you talk to Bob, you talk to me, you talk to Josh, we all had a different journey. We all had a different way of getting there. It's great to fact find and ask people, but then you have to personalize it and what's going to be best for you? What's going to help you? Writing.
She is so right.
Learn how to write.
How to express yourself.
Yeah, because if you have writing skills, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if it's radio, television, internet, or whatnot. Especially starting out, it gives you such an advantage. Be patient and persistent. Yes, ma'am. Be patient and persistent.
It's plus you're living. I'd love to be where you're at right now with YouTube, with the internet. You don't need a job to get your message out, to get your skills out. You can establish your own web page. You can put your videos up on YouTube. You can start a blog, and it'll be seen. It'll acquire a following. The most important thing, if you really want to do it, it's going to happen in one form or another. Don't let anybody tell you no.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Raised two sons by myself. Our TV wasn't on unless ESPN was on. Why Bristol, Connecticut? And do you ever see moving out of Connecticut? We don't want you to. And lastly, what do you think was your most important sports interview that you've ever done?
Yes. Why Bristol? Well, it's, if you read the book that we've assigned to this class, the gentleman who first conceived of ESPN, Bill Rasmussen, who was a Hartford Whaler public address announcer, an old sportscaster up in Springfield and in Hartford, acquired this land in Bristol. It was redevelopment land. And by the time he got Getty Oil to throw a few $1 million into the pot, Bristol, the die was cast. Now, if you'd asked us, I guess, 1983, 84, would it move, could it move, might it move, the answer might have been, yeah, possibly. But I think Chris said before, we have our own form of government now, the campus, and it's like Ohio State.
It is. It is.
You were up there last summer, last time? You recognize the place?
It's unrecognizable. It needs its own zip
We
code.
have shuttle buses going from one end to the other. We're building buildings that I've not even been in yet, that have been open for 2 or 3 years. So the answer to your question, we ain't going nowhere. I don't know, significant sports.
You've had some great interviews.
Well, thank you. I told the story here at this event last year, and if you're repeating, if you were there last year, I'll give you the abridged version, having the privilege to interview Bishop Tutu in South Africa during the World Cup. As he led our room in prayer before the interview, and talked to him about American sports and what it meant to South Africa, and to see what that event meant to this country that only 16 years earlier was a police state with minority rule. The executive producer of our World Cup said, this assignment will change your life. And he is, Jed, he's given to overstatement. He delivered. We sent 300 people there, for some of us, almost 3 months. and it was a life-changing experience. So I would put that number one. You have had on many occasions as well.
But he was one, I would say, as well.
And we were working together, too. You remember,
We're
I'm
all
on the
in
air,
this together.
but Johannesburg, I'm sitting inside anchoring the games, right?
Yes.
And I look through a thin plate of glass, and there's Robin out on our balcony hosting Good Morning America. Remember that?
Synergy.
Exactly. Two networks on the air about this far apart, right? And you're doing GMA Back to the States on ABC.
It was a beautiful thing.
It was amazing.
But that was a life-altering experience, being there for the World Cup.
Yeah.
We'll get you, Josh. Josh, you got to
He's
get him next.
itchy.
He's got itchy.
Hi, my name is Steve Tower, and I have two-part question. The first was that there was a sportscaster, Keith somebody, that you might have worked with.
Oh, boy. Gee, look at the time. I mean, it
Gotta go. I don't think he's currently employed.
currently employed.
And that's the second. And that's the second part of my question, which is, how do you maintain some semblance of normalcy when you're in the public eye at all times?
You want to pass the mic to my wife of 32 years? She could explain how.
Hey, Barbara. Hey, Barbara.
Was there a question about Keith? No, Keith is a fearfully talented man who I pray will find happiness someday. And no, seriously, he's a fiercely talented commentator and observer of things. And perhaps one day there'll be a situation that will be to his liking.
And I echo that. And as far as, it really helps having my formative years at ESPN. ESPN, you know what the star is at ESPN? SportsCenter is the star at ESPN, and we never forget that. We feel very fortunate and blessed to work there, but we know that you can just put somebody in there, and that is the star. I'm like Bob, and even though Bob, this is what's so great about us. We could not be more different in so many ways, but how we were raised and our value system is exactly the same. So maybe it's because I was with Tim Tebow. It's rubbing off on me. I don't think you have to worry about these two. No. Yeah, let's start.
But that's a great question though, because you have to have a grounding. You have to have a value system to understand that what if you're going to believe all the great things said about you, you better be prepared to believe all the bad things that are said about you. And I talked about, to our question earlier from Bobby, about the digital democracy of so much information out there. Twitter. Now, if you want to get an education, do what I do for a living with some hard stories on occasion. I'm sure you hit the mention tab at Twitter. It's like poking your head down into a sewer some days. So you don't do it. You have to never, and the other rule I tell the youngins in the business, never Google yourself.
Never.
It will not end well. Because anybody who wants to do it can sit there and do this. Yeah. You know what we're going to do? We're going to have a little auction right now.
But Josh has been waiting patiently.
He can wait a minute longer.
Bob, it's a good segue because I do want there is we're not going to leave that on the table because you guys tried to just slide it in, but no. And I do want to say, just personally, to see the two of you on stage is just personally to understand how lucky I've been and how lucky I am. And,
thank you.
And I've had the great pleasure of spending not just days doing shows with you that people see, but commercial breaks where people don't see, and boy, would that sell. Robin, you briefly mentioned it, just how different the two of you are. And boy, you throw Charlie into the mix, and I can only imagine. And if you could regale us, please. We often said Bob, and we say Robin. Boy, if the cameras were just rolling before we welcome back. What were the commercial breaks like?
Oh, well, first of all, he was doing the Jeopardy.
Yeah.
No, remember Jeopardy? You were doing
during SportsCenter, we'd have a monitor set to Jeopardy, and I'd be playing the crew in Final Jeopardy.
And he's a genius. And I would be like, what is magma? I don't know. I mean, which was on Jeopardy last night.
It was?
Magma.
All right.
Was on Jeopardy last night. But we had.
What was the category?
Rocks? Did anybody see? It was something, but magma was the absolute answer.
Right.
But also, let me just say something while he's still here, and I can't believe he's still up because if you notice, we at Good Morning America are doing exceedingly well this past year, and.
Yes.
And we're very, very happy. And the main reason, someone who lives here in Connecticut, Lara Spencer, and young Josh Elliott, you have made it so much fun to come to work and to be there every morning. And for you to be here tonight, he's a true team player. That's a true team player to be here tonight. I know Friday nights. Woo!
You're doing so well. Isn't it true that the Roadrunner's close to catching the Coyote here?
Very close.
Talking about those boys over at Rock Center, huh?
Very close.
All
We're
right.
very excited.
Keep your eyes peeled to the trades.
Yeah. Now, there's some auction item or something?
Auction item. We're going to start.
How much for Josh Elliott, ladies and gentlemen? How much? The bidding starts at... I won't tell stories because I can really tell some stories.
Big ticket item.
Woo! Look at that. Hey.
Cool. Well, I guess by comparison, tickets to the Subway Series kind of suck. All right. Could we change the slide and you can see exactly what you're about to begin bidding on? This is the view, from section 118. You are right down the third baseline. You have got 4 seats, Friday, June 8th, 7 p.m., Yankees and Mets, section 118, row 16, as well as going. Even you're impressed, and I know how tough you are to impress. And if you don't believe it, we have an actual map over here. That's you sitting right there. Legend Suites clubs. Now, you know, with the one question, can someone from our committee, what did we say we were going to open at here? Was there a number? 500. Okay, so we've established we're starting at $500. It's real simple. Raise your hand, and we will take the bidding. So we open at $500. We have 500 back there. Do I have 550 to go to this game? The 4 seats.
We have
section
here
118.
550. We have 550 right
550 right there. 550 going for 600 down low. Do I have 700 for these seats to the Yankees and Mets? 700. 700. Yes, right there. Okay, 700. 800. 800, please. These are seats with seats to the luxury Legend Suites.
Right here, right
We got 800 upstairs. Okay, 900, someone. 4 seats, 900 down low. Yankees and Mets. The blood doesn't boil any more than that. 900. What we're at?
We're at 900.
We're at 900. All right, I need 1,000. 1,000 right there. Okay, 1,000. Do I have 1,100 for 4 seats to the Subway Series? $1,100. 4 seats, you can tell everybody on your block you are down low at Yankee Stadium. Nobody can get these. You won't get this on StubHub at this number. So we're at 11 or we're at 1? We're at 1,000. Do I have 1,100? Do I have 1,100? We're at 1,000? 1,100, please. 1,000 going once? Going twice? Sold for $1,000.
Nice.
Well done. Could I interest you in a tour of ESPN?
Oh, well, I would love. I have this busload of kids.
And Mom said, come on
down.
over. Exactly. Can we change the slide, please? Visual. Here we go.
Can I just interject here? People want to come to see this. You can't even describe. If you have young, especially young sons, daughters, you want to be a hero, you bid on this.
These are not available. You cannot get these. You can get some semblance of it, but I can guarantee you, and we have some first-person witnesses in the house tonight that will tell you, we will show you television being made. You know who I'm talking about, don't you? See television being made. We're going to start this at $1,000. It was a proven winner last year. Tour for 4 people. I will conduct it. It lasts at least 90 minutes, depending on great questions, perhaps as long as 2 hours. Can include lunch if you'd like to see our ESPN Cafe at a mutually agreed upon date. So we open the bidding. You will see studios. You will see the Highlight Central where all the games come in. You'll see the Sports Center newsroom. You may very well see all sorts of celebrities walking about and
doing
team
commercials.
mascots.
Yeah, doing the
Doing
commercials.
exactly. No telling what could happen. $1,000. Who will open the bidding at $1,000 for a tour of ESPN for 4 people?
Right here, right here.
We're at $1,000
Thank you,
right
sir.
here. Okay, $1,100. Tour for 4, mutual convenience. You will see Sports Center. You'll be able to sit at the Sports Center desk and have your picture taken at the desk and actually touch the seat that Robin used to work in. Wow. What's the official term for that? The moneymaker?
The moneymaker.
The moneymaker.
No, this is the moneymaker, baby. This is
We're
not
on
right here.
$1,100. Do I have 11? 11 for Tour for 4. Right back there, 1,100 right there. 4 people will get together. We'll show you exactly how the shows are put together. You will see the highlights come in from all over the world and meet the people actually anchoring the show that day as if their schedules permit. Do I have 1,200? 1,200, please. 1,200 going once, 1,200 right here for the tour of ESPN. All right, now we need 13. $1,300, please. 13 once. Anyone? 13, 13. We're at 12. 1,300 right here. Tour for 4 of ESPN. You cannot buy this. You cannot get this anywhere. We're at 13. Do I have 14? 1,400, please. 14? 1,400. 14 right back there. I know we got somebody out there who would like this for $1,500. Do you know the bragging rights you will get at the club, at the bar, at the school? 1,500. Do I have 1,500? We're at 14 going for $1,500 for a tour for 4 at ESPN that is not available anywhere else. 15? 1,500. Okay, 16. Do I have 16? Someone's got, look, 16. If you wanted it at 15,
What's another 100? What's another 100?
And 14. You got to want 16. Do I have 16? Do I have 16? We're at 15 going for 16. Tour for 4, unavailable anywhere else. $1,600. 16? 16 right here. 17. 17. Come on, folks.
Let's get in. Look.
Do you understand? You cannot. This is serious stuff. 17. Do we have 17? Are we at 17? You can tell I'm a bad auctioneer. The last bid was 17? Yeah, 16. Going for 17. Going for 17. Tour for 4. 16? 17. Going for 17. 17 once. 17. 17 right there. All right.
You
17.
played really well. You played that well.
$1,800. Tour for 4. 2 hours. Lunch included. You get driven over by ESPN security right to the door of Building 4. I am not making this up.
You're getting better now. Now you're getting better.
You're driven right over to the front door, ushered in, and we answer every single question. $1,800, including questions about former anchors. Including questions about Robin.
No!
1,800. Do I have 18? We're at 17 going 18. Come on, someone's got to go 18. Is it going to go for only $1,700? You're going to let it go for that little?
That was great.
1,700 going once. Anyone for 18? 1,700 going twice. Sold for 1,700.
What else you got?
Now we've got 4 tickets, yeah, to the PGA at the TPC in Cromwell, the Travelers Championships. Could I ask you?
Yes, yes.
Ann holds it.
I'll be your fan of
Okay,
Reach in
thank
there.
you, Ann.
This is not quite Powerball, but check your numbers. You need your glasses?
I do.
All right.
Where are the numbers? Where?
Right there.
You've got to be kidding me.
Okay, I'm going to help Robin out here. The winner, look at your tickets carefully. We're going to go 566078.
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
Right down here, right down low. There we go. Congratulations.
Not that I don't trust you, but can I see a ticket? I trust you, I'm sure.
Just one here, yeah.
That's it?
Congratulations.
That's it. Congratulations.
Verified, verified.
Ah, there we go. You will also,
You're a winner.
as you make your way out tonight, you will have the opportunity, even if you didn't win the free tickets, to purchase $39 tickets to the Cromwell TPC Tournament, the Travelers Championships. Are only $20. $39 tickets for $20. Proceeds, half of those proceeds go to FSW. You also will have the chance to bid birdies for charity. In other words, you can say, I'll pledge a dime or a dollar for each birdie that's scored during the championship. And all of those proceeds will come right here to FSW. Toughest interview, toughest person who tried to squirm out from you, wasn't going to be cooperative, gave you the toughest time. You said, my God, what is this person doing to me? He's killing me here, she's killing me on the air.
Larry Bird.
Because he just does not want to give you an answer.
Enough said. It was early on in my career. Oh, I got thrown out of the gym by Bobby Knight. Yeah, that was good.
I was just
nice.
about to mention him.
Yeah.
I remember interviewing, Bob now works for us. We will get back to Q&A in just a second. So if you do have a question, raise your hand so we can get the mic to you. We've got a few minutes left for that. Knight's sitting there at his desk, at his office in Indiana back in 1985. He says, you know, I could pick up that phone, call somebody, and have $100,000 in just a minute to recruit anybody I wanted in this country. Said this on tape.
Wow.
But he says, I know where the money's at. It was sort of like Nixon saying $1 million, but it would be wrong. If you can remember Watergate, those of you old enough. But Bob Knight is a galvanizing figure and works with us.
I've seen.
Yes.
But I was a cub reporter in Nashville, Tennessee, covering Indiana Vandy. Went in and it was like a badge of honor. He was like, get out of here. And he had one of his little...
Minions.
Yep, tossed me out by the scruff of my neck.
You mentioned Tennessee. I know, of course, you've got college basketball in the blood. And we're, of course, here in the Nutmeg State, where Gino, of course, and his team is just keeps the fire going all year. But everyone, everywhere in American sport, in this country, if you have a soul, looks at Pat Summitt.
We back Pat.
And just think about the majesty of what she's accomplished and what she is going through right now with her early onset Alzheimer's, and whether she'll be back. That's a question for basketball, but where is she? I think she's 61, 62. And
oh, no, she's 50, she's 59.
She's only 59, excuse me.
Yeah, she'll be 60 coming up this summer.
For those of you who are not women's basketball fans, iconic coach, University of Tennessee, who has won, I believe, 8 national championships. 9, excuse me, and was diagnosed with early onset.
8, I know, I'm just kidding with you. I know, okay. Oh, Huskies, oh, I know, hey.
Mrs. Oriema, you'll be heard from in a minute.
You guys are good.
But I know you have spent a lot of time with Pat, and we have at the network too, and it's a story that just almost defies description.
It does. I spent time with her in November before the season started, and Pat, there are a lot of reasons to respect her and admire her, many of which you just mentioned. But this battle, and again, for her to go public with it as she has, and who knows if she'll come back next season, but just so brave of her to put a face to early onset dementia, Alzheimer's, and it's been a real eye opener for me and for many of us to see that. Despite as my mom says, we all got something. We all have something that we're going through. Many of us here, we all have, whether it's financial, health, or whatnot. And it's how you get through that we really remember the most. And thinking of Pat with that.
Yeah, she's an amazing woman. We're back to Q&A for the few minutes left to us. Let's up there. Go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Cleon Delgado. Just wanted to mention that, Robin, not only are you just, you've helped survivors, but you've also helped caregivers. You've helped my father. He loves you to death. He wanted me to tell you he loves you. And Bob, my brothers say, you're awesome.
Thank you.
And I just think Josh is cute, but that's on a side note.
You're not alone there, we're told.
Stand in line. Told you should put him in the auction.
Go to the Yankee
10,000.
Sold! Sold!
For a week. It's a week.
Oh, don't get greedy. Now you're just getting greedy. Now you're just getting greedy.
My question is, in your careers that you've gone so, the years that you've gotten through your careers, what have you taken or valued from your careers that you can actually interface with your personal lives as well and mirror each other and actually kind of take both and integrate them in a positive way?
That's a really good question, actually. Part of the reason I wanted this career is my father was in the Air Force. He was a Tuskegee Airman. And it was exciting to travel the world. I'm the youngest of four, and all four of us were born in different states. We've lived in different countries. And I wanted a career that would allow me, I don't know if I could be in an office. I mean, our office is Times Square, with this big window to the world, the crossroads of the world. And I'm so grateful for that. And so I really chose and wanted this kind of life. And the people, that's one thing. Even if I were not doing this, I would still be doing something interfacing with people. And that's something that I've found that has been so absolutely rewarding. The downside, it's very demanding. What time did the alarm go off? 3:45 this morning? After a really long week, and it takes a lot out of you, and it takes a lot of your personal time. It's great that Barb is here, and you're so kind. You're like, you want to have dinner after this? I'm like, oh.
But I did say, I understand it's the...
You did.
Yeah,
right. You did. I'll take a rain check on that. Yeah. So it's like you're not able to do some of the things, and that's really a downside for me.
Yeah, it's... The pluses far outweigh the minuses.
Oh, by far.
My gosh. When I was offered the job at ESPN, it was offered 2 weeks to the day before the network signed on. It was a Friday. I'm walking to the door. I had essentially been offered a job by Scotty Connell, rest his soul, the man who eventually hired me. And so when you be up here to start, I said, well, I've got a job interview tomorrow. And he stopped. I had 2 job interviews in 2 days. I had 2 job offers in 2 days. And I had about 18 hours to make up my mind. The other job that was offered was weekend anchor at New Jersey Public Television. I would not have had to have moved to Connecticut a whole 100 miles, uprooted my life at the age of 24, would have been on the air in New York and Philly at the age of 24, not going to this nebulous thing that's not even on the air yet in Connecticut. But what sold me on doing it, I was coming out of a local cable situation in northern New Jersey where, again, I had been hired for that, right over the blueprints on my boss's desk of the truck, the remote truck. We had taken it from an idea to a reality in 3 years and won many major awards and done a lot of good stuff. Stuff that nobody else in the country was doing for local cable at that point. And I think I was fortunate enough to realize, gee, if I did it once, I could probably, startup's a pretty good idea. There are no rules. You're as good as your initiative and your abilities will take you. Maybe this thing will work out, and if it doesn't, I can always come back and, maybe get another job. And I think that taught me and try and instill in our kids the idea that you work hard. If you work hard, if you want something, it will come to you. It may not be exactly what you expect at that moment, but it will be there. Do not stop dreaming. That's important. So. Yes.
Okay. At this point, she's had her hand up the entire time. We have to make sure. She's
yes.
just,
we'll,
even during the auction, I was like, "You going to bid on that? Put your hand down."
She's producing from the stage.
I didn't mean to take it away from you. I know. No. I meant.
He's a big guy too.
Oh, I know.
Be up here.
My question is, how do you prepare for those tough interviews when you have to interview those leaders? And also, how do you put your fears and your anxiety aside to go forward and get what you want?
Those are 2 excellent questions. I'll take the latter to begin with, because there was somebody, and you might think, oh, Dancing with the Stars, Dancing with the Stars. Sherry Shepherd, did you hear what she said? She is, and it's so true, run toward it. Run to it. Don't run from it. If something is frightening you and you don't think you can do it, don't run away from it. Run right to it. And it's just so, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? I'm telling you, it's far worse than woulda, coulda, shouldas. Far worse than, okay, I went for it and it didn't quite work out. That will get you. And as far as preparing for, especially like for me, and I know Bob is this, he's an incredible sports person, but his knowledge, his vast knowledge period is just astounding, and political as well. for me, political interviews are still, not so much now, but in the beginning, are very difficult for me. I just have not been political by nature when I was younger. I mean, I was very aware, but it wasn't something. So those early ones were nerve-wracking for me. For me, homework. I'm an athlete. I was never afraid to go into a game if we had scouted our opponent and I knew my game plan. It's the same way I approach an interview. I read as much as I can on that person. I have prepared questions, but then you know what I do? I do this funny thing. It's called listening. You listen. You listen to that person, and they'll take you where you need to go. Yes, you have like a game plan and a prepared set of questions, but I don't think people really listen to people that they're interviewing. So having that game plan and listening takes away that fear.
Preparation is the key. Yeah, but confidence is the key. When you're presented with a major assignment and you just have, this is where experience helps. You've done this before. You talk about listening, all you have to do is ask somebody, why? Or what did you mean by that? Or really? One interjection can redirect an interview into areas that nobody would expect it to go. And it comes from listening. We've got a guy at our place. Have you ever met John Sawatsky?
Oh, yes,
yes,
I have. Yes,
right.
I have.
All
Excellent.
he does, his full-time job, is work with people, producers, and also anchors and reporters primarily, how to conduct interviews. And it sounds like, well, wait, that's all? Yes, that's all he does. And you take, well, it's now it used to be a 40-hour course, now down to about 30 hours, but it teaches you to listen, how to structure your interviews. There's a science to it. And our company has put the resources into it to the point where and then once you go through an exercise like that, then you see somebody else who obviously, not to mention Larry King by name, but who we love Larry, but Larry breaks all of John's rules. Larry also is probably worth $20 million.
I know what I'm about to say, right? He's doing just fine.
Well, yeah, maybe he is the focus point of the interview. But the point is, once you see how an interview really can be conducted clinically well, you cringe when you see other people in the industry not necessarily doing it that way. We've got time for one last question. This gentleman over here gave up the mic.
It's a lot of pressure. You both started with sports, and you started the evening with Bobby Petrino. So I'm just curious, with everything that happens, now all of a sudden, sports was our nice getaway, and all of a sudden now it's, the things that are in the news. Outside Lines, by the way, 9 o'clock Sunday morning?
That's right, right there.
The show's amazing, but did you ever think that Outside the Lines would be as big as, Sports Center on a sports channel, that you'd be covering things like Bobby Petrino and a mistress on a motorcycle?
Well, that's one of the reasons why when I left sports, it was becoming like news anyway. I mean, it wasn't, originally when I'll honest, I didn't want to be a journalist. I wanted to be a professional athlete, but I stunk. So I was the best doggone average athlete. Yes, I paid for my college education, and I am going into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Very excited about that. Very excited about that. But I found that we were, I got in it because I love sports. I just loved everything about it. And I saw through the years it was changing. It was a Mike Tyson trial and all these things that were happening. And it wasn't the fun and games, but that's okay. And I think it's the blend of it because, again, coming back to Tebow, even though I'm in the news world, sports is still, man, intoxicating. It is. It's just people. It is the one thing that really unifies people. If you start talking about politics or religion, you talk about sports, and it's like this common. And I still find myself picking up the sports page almost first before looking at the front page, and it's just something that it's hard to get away from.
When our network started in 1979, sports was a business. Sports is now an entertainment industry. You can look at Showtime with the Lakers in the 80s and the NBA, and Jordan, what he did, and finally baseball learning how to market itself internationally, and soccer becoming larger because of the demographics of this country. The ESPYs, award shows such as sports, Nike's involvement, the way that it's not just the games, it's the endorsements, it's the dollars. It's part of our culture. It is astonishing. I think America's greatest export is, aside from democracy, God bless democracy around the world, is its culture. When you travel around the world, as we're privileged to do, you turn on the TV and you see our entertainment programs, but also our sporting programs. I mean, I remember being in Spain a couple of years ago when Pau Gasol was playing with the Memphis Grizzlies. Why is the lead story on the news in Sevilla, Memphis Grizzlies? Well, my gosh, that's their guy. It's cultural, it's close to the heart, and it means that much to so many people, and because you'll pick up that sports page or be unified and say, I hate the Jets, I love the Giants, which I happen to. It's right there. It's right at your heart. You know what's also right at my heart is our friendship. Thank you for doing this, my dear.
You're welcome.
She's a princess.
Happy day. Thank you.
And thank you all for helping the clients of FSW with your appearance here tonight. As you depart, remember you can purchase tickets to Cromwell, to the Travelers Championships, $39 tickets for $20. Half of those proceeds will go to FSW. You can also birdies for charity and make a pledge for all the birdies that will be made during the 4 days of that championship in June. Robin, thank you. All of you, thank you for being here. Good night.